Join me on an extraordinary journey through India, a land rich with culture, color, and countless stories of kindness that a young British traveler named Tom never expected to experience. This trip changed him, bringing lessons and unforgettable moments. So, this is a story that's both deeply personal and incredibly eye-opening. From the towering Himalayas to the tranquil backwaters of Kerala, every place Tom visited surprised him not only with its beauty but with the warmth of its people. And there's one particular story, a challenge he faced on this trip, that truly taught him the strength of human kindness. Let's start at the beginning. Tom landed in Delhi, filled with nervous excitement, ready to explore everything that he'd read about: the bustling markets, historical monuments, and delicious street food. He'd heard so many things about India. Some talked about its vast landscapes and rich traditions, while others warned of overwhelming crowds and poverty. He didn't know what to believe, but he decided to leave his expectations at the door and dive in with an open heart. As he explored the lively streets of Old Delhi, he immediately felt the energy of the city, with its vendors calling out to sell spices and colorful textiles, the aromas of cooking spices in the air, and the chaotic yet somehow orchestrated flow of rickshaws and people. It was here that he first witnessed the generosity of Indian people in a small but touching way. He stopped by a food stall to try his first plate of chole bhature, a spicy, flavorful dish made of chickpeas and fried bread. The vendor, a middle-aged man with a kind smile, noticed him hesitantly trying to figure out the best way to eat it. Sensing his confusion, the vendor came over, showed him how to mix the ingredients properly, and insisted he try a few other items on the menu, all free of charge. This was just the beginning of countless acts of kindness that would follow Tom throughout the trip. After a few days in Delhi, he set off for Rajasthan, where he'd heard tales of ancient forts, camel rides through the desert, and traditional Rajasthani hospitality. He remembers arriving in Jaipur, the Pink City, and being mesmerized by the hues of the buildings, especially as the sun set, casting a soft, warm glow across the city. He spent hours exploring the Amber Fort and the city palace, soaking in the grandeur of the architecture. One evening, while wandering around a marketplace, he met a group of local artisans eager to share their crafts with him. They spent hours showing him how they hand-dyed fabrics, created intricate jewelry, and carved delicate wooden sculptures. Even though they didn't speak the same language, their enthusiasm and openness created a bond that needed no translation. They even gave him a small hand-carved elephant as a gift, a token of their gratitude for his interest in their work. But it was in Udaipur, the city of lakes, that Tom experienced a life-changing act of kindness that he'll never forget. This is where his story takes a twist. Tom had decided to rent a scooter to explore the outskirts of Udaipur, where rolling hills and small villages reveal a more rural side of India. It was an exhilarating ride through the countryside, with vibrant green fields and the occasional glimpse of a peacock crossing the road. Everything was going smoothly until he took a wrong turn that led him onto a dirt path. The road became narrow and bumpy, with sharp rocks and loose gravel making it almost impossible to navigate. He tried to turn back, but before he knew it, his scooter hit a rock, and he lost control, skidding to a stop. He was thrown from the scooter, landing with a painful scrape on his arm and a twisted ankle. His phone screen was cracked, and he was alone in a remote area with no signal and no immediate way to get help. As he sat there, trying to figure out his next move, a small group of villagers noticed him from a distance and quickly made their way over. They didn't speak English, but their concern was clear. One of the men gently examined his ankle, while another handed him a bottle of water. Despite his limited Hindi, Tom tried to explain that he was okay, but they weren't convinced. Before he knew it, they had fashioned a makeshift bandage for his arm from a clean cloth one of them had on hand. Then, without hesitation, two of the younger men offered to help him back to the main road. They took turns supporting him as he hobbled along, while another man pushed his scooter. Eventually, they brought him to a nearby house, where an elderly woman offered him a traditional healing balm for his ankle and insisted he rest while she prepared tea. He felt so touched by their genuine care. They went out of their way to make sure he was comfortable and even arranged for a local mechanic to check his scooter for any damage. None of them expected anything in return. Their kindness was simply a way of life. They spent hours together as they patiently taught him a few Rajasthani phrases, and he shared stories of his own home with them. Once he was ready to head back, they wouldn't let him leave without accepting a packed meal for the journey. A bundle of warm roti, spiced vegetables, and a small jar of pickle. The entire experience reminded him of the pure-hearted hospitality that runs so deeply in the people here. Tom left that village with his heart full and his spirits lifted, carrying memories of their kindness that he knew would stay with him for a lifetime. As he continued his journey south to Kerala, the experiences of warmth and kindness only multiplied. Kerala is known for its peaceful backwaters and lush green landscapes, and Tom was lucky enough to spend a few days on a houseboat, drifting along calm rivers lined with coconut palms. During one of these serene nights, his houseboat guide, Manu, invited him to join his family for dinner. They ate on the floor, traditional style, on banana leaves, with a spread of delicious vegetarian dishes that included coconut curries, fried plantains, and spicy pickles. He shared his story about the scooter accident, and Manu's family laughed and nodded, saying it was only natural for people to help one another in times of need. Their humility and sense of community struck him deeply, reminding him again of how interconnected we all are. His final stop was in the bustling city of Mumbai, where he met a young girl named Leela selling handmade crafts. Despite the challenges she faced, Leela was full of optimism and dreams. She took it upon herself to show him around, introducing him to hidden spots in her neighborhood, her favorite street food stalls, and even her friends. Her spirit was contagious, and her kindness was another reminder that no matter where you are, compassion and empathy have the power to break down all barriers. Reflecting on his journey through India, Tom realized that the country is more than just its beautiful landscapes, ancient temples, and vibrant cities. It's the people, their open hearts, selflessness, and willingness to help, that make it extraordinary. His trip was filled with breathtaking sights, but it was the kindness of strangers, like the villagers who came to his aid when he was stranded, that truly left an indelible mark on his soul. India taught him to let go of his fears and assumptions, to open himself up to new connections, and to trust in the kindness of others. This journey has left him humbled, grateful, and profoundly changed, and he can only hope that one day he'll be able to pass on the kindness he received to others along the way. So if you've had your own travel story that transformed you, or if you've experienced kindness from a stranger, I'd love to hear about it. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more stories. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and until next time, keep an open heart and an adventurous spirit.